to ensure that they declare their assets by the end of the first quarter of this year, that is by 31st March 2025. I wish to stress that any appointee failing to meet this deadline would face severe sanctions, not excluding removal from office. Even as we strive to hold past government officials accountable for their stewardship, I deem it even more imperative to enforce anti-corruption among our present public office holders.
Mechiamu bi na mekam say ahaye good news TVGH so ensema e trend e social media ene de beto yahefo ani na na parliament house MPs ni nyina obi anyi na so na ontie Mahama de nsem bebre bi aba beto ja Mahama abekasa na okọ program bi mebisa no na japade ehu pipes nya ade on pe so mu de ebra wabubu rada na okọ ayehu de obeya aka ho na eno na Mahama de akọkire na Mahama ekasa bebre say waban o media agro MPC bia wo hye na ase bia say sabio ujimi a wo be free office obesake o edie say no MPC ni nyina ema omani na ho enam say emra MPP betena so no omo MPC ni kon aye nse mebrebe ye de afenyo ma kan die wo ho a wono so be to bomb ena ye wo kin oforiata so die wo ha em say omo declare say aban say hiana o peno na wayi nsem bi ano na no na ne Mahama aka say brebe say wa point to say we MP ana say ya to abayi say MP na oba parliament house na nye sabio woni wabusua mafun enti na wo ba ho na wa be bia gro bia na obayi ade ni kwan say we sika bi be fa on sase ani ni kwan say fa no obe be kishi yo say office wo be free office ai e say na ni abre opese ode oman no ekotu ba bie o pega ye di kosi ba bia ahoto ebe bo oman Ghana mu na obia so enya ne so ene ne de na ensema Mahama kan no o kan bebrebe say they say MPC ni nsamu no na o yakọ betu na mo a obetimi ama oman no nkan kọ no abe fefefe ama obia so enya ahoto e wo oman Ghana mu na mu titiru na ebe ya enam MPC ni so they say odi adwuma hyehye mu nsa e wo mo bro no ana mo mantam ba bia sese wo ye adwuma no se sika be kan nsa sefa ko yi ha kwan a e wo so de ye kwan no na eto na akwa mu enye se obewie no na sika na fa nsa ase e bata na ohwe mu hu a won fa ho office a wo no obeyi wafi ho no because afi ya obey o media agro obey ye ne ma obetoto ne ma yi pa ye nkotie Mahama ne nsem a okan fa no krofo a sebio ana na chitaafo a ombeboa na ama wapeja oman Ghana akosoro no bi emra
to ensure that they declare their assets by the end of the first quarter of this year, that is by 31st March 2025. I wish to stress that any appointee failing to meet this deadline would face severe sanctions, not excluding removal from office. Even as we strive to hold past government officials accountable for their stewardship, I deem it even more imperative to enforce anti-corruption among our present public office holders. Charity, they say, begins at home. I'm therefore determined to take the necessary steps to ensure that we fight corruption vigorously so that the precious little resources that have been entrusted to us by the Ghanaian people are used only in their interest. There have been issues raised about the effectiveness of the current assets declaration regime. We must take advantage of the current constitution review process to strengthen the assets declaration regime to make it more relevant to changing times. I believe that we must move to a regime where the assets so declared can be published before and after public office, so that the phenomenon of unexplained and overnight wealth obviously earned through the proceeds of corruption can be checked. I trust that a healthy debate can be had over this issue and consensus built on the way forward, so that collectively we can defeat the unwholesome canker of corruption. There are many people in public office who do not know that they are covered under this assets declaration regime. And so, Auditor General, there must be a reminder to all these people that they are covered under the assets declaration regime. And so I have presented mine this morning, and let me make a few remarks. Senior government officials present, the Auditor General, and staff of your department. We're very happy to have you here this morning at the presidency. Friends of the media, I've just performed a simple but brief, very important act of presenting my completed assets declaration forms to the Auditor General as required by Article 286 of the 1992 Constitution and the Public Office Holders Declaration of Assets and Disqualifications Act 1998, Act 550. Ghana's assets declaration regime and its related activities have often been shrouded in secrecy, and only unless in special circumstances, compliance is often difficult to measure. In times past, I would privately have presented these forms to the Auditor General in fulfillment of my statutory obligation. I've taken this step of presenting these forms publicly as a way of injecting some openness and transparency into the process of assets declaration. I've always maintained that while it is all well and good to punish corruption, a more effective way of addressing the canker is preventing it from occurring in the first place. I honestly believe that if properly curated and enforced, the assets declaration process can become a sustainable tool for tackling corruption. Corruption by nature is insidious and thrives under the cover of darkness. The more light that is shown on it, the more likely that it will be fought successfully.
Mahama nsema okan ni bi John Dramani Mahama nsema okan ni bi e na yakwa kotie no nim se wakasa bebrebe asema oka so de eye ne kwan so ano no se wa abedi oman sika no MPD abedi oman sika ana wa obuama oman ya hihya ma na tumpon ne edi sika be hye onsa se fa kore project na obebom de obetase ho atafi bi de o office a on kan se ubefiri honom se de enkabe boa mo oman Ghana edumadi afesi edum ana oman Ghana aye ka behwe na me ka say hi good news TV so mon ko so subscribe to our channel na mu nyam comment section go so ye ba I mean you reply bi obi e do so ma refu nyina yakra mu nyina